All right, everybody. Our next Google Sheets assignment, and in fact, this is going to be the last Google Sheets assignment. It is going to be about creating pixel art using Google Sheets and using conditional formatting, which is what happened in the previous lesson, conditional formatting. You're looking at an example right now. It's a simple one, just a happy face, just two colors, yellow and black, and just a little smiley face kind of thing. Here's another example. It's a heart, obviously. I think it's obvious, isn't it? And here's one more example. It's a kind of a Minecraft style sword. And you are not going to have to create 3 of these. You're only going to have to create 1, but I'm just showing different examples of these are things that I made, and I'm going to show you some places where you can get ideas. Now, at the time that I'm recording this movie, all the things like the handout and not everything is posted on Google Classroom yet, but by the time you're watching this movie, it will be. But at the time I'm recording this movie, it is not. So just heads up on that. So I'm going to show you all the things that are involved in putting this together, and I'm going to hop over here for a second to this handout, this help page will be posted on Classroom at the time when it comes time to do the assignment. So you're going to have to set up your grid on your sheet a little bit, and I'm going to show you how to do that here in a second. I think it works a little bit better if the cells on the Google Sheet are boxes rather than rectangles. That's my opinion. I'll show you how to do that. You'll need to get an idea. You can't just sit down and say, well, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm going to show you a good way I feel like to get ideas for your pixel art. You'll have to set up your conditional formatting rules because that's how we're going to do this. We're going to plug numbers into the sheet and make the cells turn different colors. And then eventually at the end you'll just have to kind of plot some numbers in there. I'm going to show you that. And then there's a couple of optional things that come at the end. If you'll look at the help page, and when it says optional, that means optional. That means you don't have to do it, but you can do it, and I'm going to show you how to do it. When you have all the numbers plugged in, you can make them disappear. It's not very hard. And you can also make the grid lines disappear, and I'll show you that as well. All right. I did put a few ideas here. These are really simple ideas because there's always people who say, well, I don't know what to do. So like a smiley face or a birthday cake or a Christmas tree with some lights on it or a Minecraft creeper. Minecraft creepers aren't very hard for when you're doing pixel art. So yeah, this is what the help page looks like, and let's hop back up here to, now I'm not going to go to Google Classroom because like I said, I don't really have anything posted there yet at the time I'm recording this movie. So here's how this all begins. You're going to go to new, or you need a new blank Google Sheet. I always go to my Drive and I click the new button and I'm going to Google Sheets and I'm going to do a blank spreadsheet. So that's how I do it. But you're just going to need a new blank Google Sheet. Now, like always, if I were you, I would come up here. I'm going to zoom up on this way for right now. I would come up here and give this some kind of name. So I'm going to call this Pixel Art 2023. Yay. Because I do this a lot. I do this like every quarter. So I'm just going to call it Pixel Art, and I'm going to put a year on it. All right, great, wonderful. Name it whatever you want to name it. Now, here's the next thing, and I'm going to kind of stay zoomed up for this part of it because I think you'll be able to see it better. I think, see how these cells, all of these cells on the Google Sheet are rectangular. They're kind of wide and they're not very tall. I think pixel art looks a little bit better if we make these so that they're boxes, so that they're more square. Here's a quick way to do that. Let me show you. There's an empty box sitting right here just to the left of column A and just above row 1. There's an empty box sitting right there. And if I click it, it selects the entire sheet from A to Z and from 1 to 1,000. It gets every cell. And now what happens is if I float my mouse here, I can't do it down here in the, in this part of the Google Sheet. I have to be up here like right between A and B on the columns. I can take that divider bar and scoot it over. And then between 1 and 2, I can take that divider bar and scoot it over. Oops, I deselected there. Don't want to do that. And so my thinking is, and I might make them a little bit smaller, my thinking is that they're not perfect squares, but I just think pixel art looks a little bit better when your boxes are more squarish than being rectangular. I'm going to make them a little smaller. I'm just kind of eyeballing it to be kind of what I want it to be. All right, that doesn't look too bad. I think that's going to work. Because when I'm going to zoom back out some to a normal view here, and that looks pretty decent. Okay, so I did that, right? Now they're boxes and not rectangles, and you don't have to do that. I mean, you can do this assignment without doing that, but I just think it's a good idea. Now, the next thing you would need to do is go do, and if you look here, you can see what I searched for. Google Sheets pixel art. That's what I did. I did an image search on Chrome, and I did Google Sheets pixel art. And I also went over here to Tools, and I clicked on Clip Art because I like the results a little bit better. I like the way I get just a nice variety and things that are a little bit easier, and so whatever. But yeah, the big thing is Google Sheets pixel art right there. Now you could search for Google Sheets pixel art examples, and that would probably give you good results too. But here you see a whole bunch. Like there's smiley faces and a Powerpuff Girl and a rainbow cat and Mario and a sword. I did a sword. There's a frog and a Pokeball and Among Us and a penguin, and so yeah, I'm finding all kinds of stuff. So what you're going to have to do is decide, what am I going to try to make? Right? Now, in this demo, just to kind of help it move along, I'm just going to be making kind of a smiley face, something like what you see right here, this one, something like that. It's not going to look just like that. But here's something, while I'm on this page, here's something I want to point out. Whatever it is that you decide to make, you're going to have to look at it and think, okay, how many different colors are in there? Like if I'm going to do a smiley face like this, there's only two colors. There's black and yellow, or black and gold, whatever you want to call it. All right, so there's just two colors, and that's all I'd have to worry about. But if you're going to do Mario here, well, all right, I see red and black and a brown color and a blue color and a yellow color. So what are we up to? 5? Red, black, brown, blue, yellow. So that's like 5 colors, and that's going to become important when you're working on this. You have to keep in mind, what colors am I going to use and how many colors are there? Because when you're working on your Google Sheet, you're going to have to make a rule. I'll show you what I mean if you'll just watch. You're going to have to make a rule for every color. Okay, so like if you need, like with Mario, if you need 5 colors, well then 5 colors. If you're going to do this Among Us character here, 2 different shades of red, that's 2, and black is 3, and I see some light blue, that's 4, and another kind of shade of blue, that's 5. And if you could do white. I mean, that's kind of up to you whether you do white or not, but you see what I mean. You gotta look at what you're trying to make and think, what colors do I need and how many colors are there? Okay, all right. Well, let's get back here to my sheet so I can proceed on and show you more of what to do. All right, now, so I have to, the next thing I'm going to do now that I have my idea, and what I'm going to do in this demo is just, I'm just going to create kind of a happy face, smiley face kind of thing. So it's only going to be 2 colors. I'm just going to use like yellow and black. Okay. Well, when I make my rules, I'm going to do this. Once again, I'm going to go up here to right next to column A and right above row 1, and I'm going to click like that. This is really important. I'm going to click like that to select the entire thing. And you don't see all of it here. It goes from A to Z. You can see that part, but it also goes from 1 to 1,000. And so the entire thing is selected. And now we want to make our rules. And we want this to be selected when you make the rules. So I'm going to go to Format, and I'm going to go to Conditional Formatting. We did this in the previous assignment. The conditional formatting window opens over here. Okay. Now, in case, if you're working on this and you're thinking, well, I'm plugging the numbers in, but it's just not working. It's not working. Here's the thing you might have to check where it says apply to range. This is what you want it to say. A1 colon Z1000. You want your rules to work everywhere. This is what tells the computer, where the rules should work. Is there a boundary? Is there a certain area where the rules should be in effect? Well, we want it to work everywhere. So if somehow, that's what, when I clicked on this empty box over here, that's what it did. It selected all of it. But if somehow your rules don't work, then make sure that this says A1 colon Z1000, and that should take care of it. That should do it. That should make your rules work everywhere. Okay, now here's what we're going to do. I'm only going to use 2 colors. So the format rule we want is going to be is equal to. That's the thing we want. So I'm going to say is equal to. Okay. And then you just start assigning, like you're going to have a color number 1, color number 2, color number 3, color number 4, right? So I'm just going to say, okay, if I stick a 1 into the cell, I want it to be yellow. All right, so I'm going to say color number 1 is yellow. I could have said color number 1 is black, but I just said color number 1 is yellow. All right, you just decide. Color number 1 is yellow, and I'm done. Now I need another rule. All right, so I'm going to add another rule because I need a rule for black. I'm going to use black. So if the cell is equal to, and this will just be color number 2. So I'm going to put a 2 in there, and I want, if I stick a 2 in the cell, I want it to turn black. And I'm going to say that I'm done. Boom. So I have 2 rules. Now this is where if you're doing if your pixel art has like 5 different colors in it, then you would have 5 different rules. 1 rule for every color. You would have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5, and every one would be set for a different color. That's how this works. Okay, well now I can come out here, since my rules are set, and watch, I'm just going to show you. If I come out here and I just type a 1, and I'm just using my arrow keys here, right? And you see what's happened? Actually, I'm going to start building my smiley face. All right, I put a 1 and I hit an arrow key to move on to another cell, and you see what's happening. And it knows that, well, hey, the rule is if there's a 1 in there, I'm supposed to fill it with yellow. So the computer knows that. I told it, I made the rule. Now here's a trick. If I select a row like that, do you remember the duplication handle? Will that work here? Well, I think it will. Watch. I'm going to grab this and just take it down a little bit, kind of like that. And look, oh yes, that does work. So if that would be helpful for you, that would be a thing you could do, right? You could use the duplication handle if you think that would be helpful. So I am working on, and you know, if you're looking at what I'm designing right now and thinking, well, you didn't put any eyes in there or anything, yeah, just hang on, because I'm gonna. All right. So by plotting in all of these ones, I've kind of made the shape of the head of my smiley face, right? Now what I'm going to do here, because I'm going to come along in here and plug some 2s in here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that one as a 2, so I'll switch it back to a 1. And you see what I got going, right? Everywhere, this is how conditional formatting works. Everywhere I put a number, but according to the rules that I have here, everywhere I put a number, it does what I told it to do. So if I put in a 2, it fills it with black. If I put in a 1, it fills it with yellow. All right, so I'm going to change some of these. No, stay here. Go across here a little bit. Now we're going to come, oops. Didn't really want that one. I'm going to put that one back to being a 1, and then, yeah, now we're better. Yeah. All right, now I'm going to take a second here just because I want to. I'd like for there to be an outline around it. Oh, not there, though. Now, if I leave a cell blank, it just doesn't get anything because I didn't make a rule for a blank cell. So it's possible just to leave a cell blank. I'm almost done. Yeah, I want that, and that, and that, and that. No, I don't want that, so I'm going to take that out. No, sorry. Bingo. That is how it's done, right? I made rules over here, conditional formatting rules for the two colors. Color number 1 is yellow, color number 2 is black. And then I just put 1s and 2s into the cells to plot it out and to make my picture. Now this one's really simple. It's only 2 colors and the picture isn't very hard. You could do something more complicated than this. Now we're down to kind of a couple of optional things. I'm going to hop back over here to the handout if my computer will let me. So, I did all this. I set up the grid where I made it boxes, and I got an idea off of, by looking at some things, and I came up with an idea. I set up my conditional formatting rules, 1 for yellow, 2 for black. I did a couple of tests to make sure it was working, and then I just worked on plotting it out. Now, here's the next thing, making the numbers disappear. Well, check this out. I think, in my opinion, I don't know if you agree with me, I think that this would look better, and it's not that you have to do this, but you can. This would look better if you couldn't see all those 1s. Well, there's an easy way to do that, and you've probably already figured it out, I'll bet. If I come over here to my conditional formatting rules where it says value is equal to 1, and I've got it's set to yellow here, so I'm going to double click it so I can edit that. And all I'm going to do here is say, well, okay, now that I'm done, I'll come along here and I'll also make the text color yellow. The fill color will be yellow, the text color will be yellow, and you won't be able to see the numbers anymore. So as soon as I say, well, actually, even before I hit done, it already did it, right? So now I can't see those 1s in there anymore, and I don't really have to worry about, I could, change the 2s, but I don't really need to worry about it because the 2s were black, and the color was black, so you can't really see the 2s anyway. Now here is another optional thing. It's on the handout. If you want to, you can go view, show grid lines. See how grid lines is check marked right there? And you can see what this thing looks like right now, but if I click on that, the dividing lines between the rows and the columns are now invisible. They're not gone. It's just that you don't see them. And if I want to bring them back, I can go view, show. I don't know why I can't seem to do that correctly. View, show, grid lines, and they're back. So that's a thing that's up to you. View, show, grid lines. Turn them off or turn them on, whichever you like better. Okay. Now, this is a 2-day thing. You have 2 class periods to work on this. And the reason for that is this. Some people are going to say, well, how come it's a 2-day thing? This is so easy. Well, it's a 2-day thing because sometimes, and this happens like every time I teach this lesson, there are a lot of people who take the challenge, right? They do something harder. That might not be you, but there are a lot of people who do. They go looking, at different things. And they look and they search and they look and they search and they find something that just is going to take a little bit longer because it's a little harder. It just is more work. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. There's nothing wrong with challenging yourself a little bit. I am giving you time. Look at that bat signal. That one's fun. I'm giving you time, right? So there's nothing wrong with challenging yourself a little bit and seeing if you can make something that's a little more, complicated than just the easiest thing that there is to do. So there's that, right? All right, well, I'm out of here. Time for you to go to work.